Okay, my camera decided to start on me again, so we'll roll with it. Um, so I know my mom's gone. My dad, I heard, leave the house, but he told Peppy to stay in the house, and his truck's still out there, so I'm thinking he's probably hanging out in the camper. So I'm gonna try to do this. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Been doing a lot of thinking this morning. It's been kind of a weird morning. So our neighbors, for some reason, have had like power issues, and like half their power wasn't working, so they've been having a lot of workers in and out to deal with stuff in their yard and whatnot. So this morning, apparently the guys that were out working told my dad that our power was going to be off for a little bit. Not a real long time, but probably half hour to an hour. And okay, I think this is part of where my wrong clock has the reputation that it does, because it came back on and like it wasn't flashing or didn't have anything going on to suggest that the power had gone out. But when I looked at it earlier, it said it was like 12:15 or something. I was like, well, I go ahead and take a shower and get ready to do some stuff around here. So I went and did that, and then I came back and it said it was 1:43. Now, mind you, I was thinking it was right. I forgot all about the power outage a little bit, and so I get out of the shower and get ready and all that fun stuff, and sit back on my bed for a minute, and it's like 1:43. No, I wasn't in the shower for an hour and a half, but um, yeah, that was just whatever. um, but then I looked at my phone and I saw I had a message from Ben. And it was like 11 o'clock. It was like, wait a second. It's like I've been way more productive earlier than I even anticipated, right? Because like the power, God, when did it go off? A little before 9 or around 9. I don't know, but it was just like, oh, it still tripped me out because I think that's what must happen with this clock. Is I know there have been times that the power has kind of flashed or gone out for a little bit of time, but if we're not home to notice it, then not paying attention to the clock to realize that it needs fixed because it doesn't flash or do anything to let me know that it went off. Like, like the freaking, I want to say the stove will just like go blank. The most of the clocks that we have will flash and let you know that they're not right. And that one's just like, nope, I'm just keeping time like ever, but I'm not gonna let you know that the power went out either. So it's like, okay, whatever. But anyway, I did start my morning with a Dr. Ramani video today, and it was talking about, does the narcissist know, is it something about when you're disconnecting, and it kind of just, I've been thinking about some things this morning. So firstly, I'm thinking that, okay, I've talked about how I feel like this month, April 2025, is, I said the right year that time. I caught myself the other day. I misspoke and said 2024. It's like definitely not 24. But yeah, April 2025. So I feel things shifting in my favor, and I feel like I'm getting ready to basically, when I feel like when the good things start shifting in my favor, there's going to be a bunch in a short span of time, right? And there's just going to be a lot of stuff moving me along the path that I'm meant to be on. You know, I've talked about how my brother's family moving feels like the start of one of those stupid phone calls. One of those things, like the fact that he and his family are getting out and moving away from the toxic family situation. Feels like it's just the first step, right? And, you know, he mentioned, okay, let's go back to the mama drama. Yesterday, okay, yeah, I did the video early yesterday, so I did not talk about this at all. Okay, so yesterday, we took Gracie to school and picked her up afterwards. But since my brother had mentioned, I'm trying to make sure there's nothing going on out there. Peppy hasn't barked, and she should bark when he comes back in, so, but yeah, Gidget just got off the bed and went and sniffed the door, but anyway, the way it came up, I'm sorry, am I in your way? That, we were going to take her to school and pick her up. My parents were there, so my brother had them in the middle of it, so I knew they were going to go around me with the afternoon pickup thing. Love this dog. Yeah, she loves me too. And that's basically what happened. They didn't even ask if I wanted to or anything. They just got ready and went. And that's fine. Because I saw it coming. As soon as he didn't go the normal way, which the normal way here lately has been, me and my brother will talk about it and he will say, can you do this? And I will say yes. But then I invite the parents into the situation. So when he just threw it out there for all of us, it's like, well, that's become their thing, right? So, yes. So yeah, that was exactly what happened. And so yesterday, I was actually watching the video that I did yesterday and getting it ready to go online, all that fun stuff. And like hypersensitive about all the noises I hear, and is it in the house? Is it out of the house? Yeah, so I was doing that while they left. Well, then I got a message from my dad saying, can I come pick you up because the other car was finally out of the shop, or ready to be out of the shop, and we needed to pick it up, right? So he said that he was next door with Mom and Gracie, but wanted to go get the car and, you know, handle all that stuff. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So he came and picked me up, and I was thinking, it's like, that I knew, you know, it's like, of course my mom took the opportunity to make it that way because, okay, Gracie hasn't been over there at my grandma's house a lot either. Keeping in mind that my grandma's also extremely toxic. And in December, after my grandfather passed away, my brother and his wife took Gracie over there to see my grandma. And she was doing some really stupid passive-aggressive bullshit. And, you know, she said it was something, she said, sorry I missed Gracie's recital. It was Donnie and my anniversary and he's more important. It's like, never mind the fact that he's dead. Never mind the fact that the anniversary is in April. Never mind the fact that she's saying this to enforce the idea that her dead husband is more important than the 8-year-old child that's in the room, and it's like, my brother, I mean, that was one of the big things for him. That was just like, I don't feel welcome in this town anymore. It's like, I get that. I completely get that. That whole passive aggressive thing is absolute shit. And, especially, I don't know if she even had the awareness to know that it sounded like she was being a bitch about Gracie, but I figure it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because she's always been passive aggressive, always been, she'll say the thing underhandedly to make people feel like shit, kind of a thing. Mind you, she was my grandfather's number one supply on his narcissism, and she was very much in line with, head flying monkey all that time. So yeah, what are you doing? You lick my blanket. That's weird. So yeah, that's literally just how she is after years and years of being locked into that existence of, she actively chose to be his enabler, and therefore everything else, like how she treated others, was because of enabling him was her first responsibility, kind of a bullshit thing. So anyway, since then, none of us have been really interested in going over and hanging out with my grandma. Like, me and my brother, his wife, and Gracie, she's 8. I don't know how much she really knows about what's going on. I think she's picked up that there is some sketchy stuff going on as far family-wise, and that's part of why they're moving, but yeah. Tonight she'll be staying all night. But it was just like the fact that, my mom made sure that they went to pick Gracie up without me and went over to spend time with my grandma because she knew we've kind of been blocking it, for the child's emotional benefit. Yeah. So I told my brother and his wife that they, it's like, by the way, I said, I am going with Dad to pick up the other car. I said, Mom made sure to get Gracie over to Grandma's house. And he said that they were finishing up at CVS and then were on their way to pick her up anyway. So they stayed over there for a little while with them. And he said they had a decent visit compared to how it's sometimes been. And last night, we were sitting down to dinner over here, and my mom says, well, I suppose you already knew. I was like, knew what? And she's talking about something about the house that they want to get in Oklahoma is right next to Jen's brother. I was like, I did not know that, but so what? Why wouldn't they want to live close to the family they have out there? It's like, for fuck's sake, they briefly lived here before Gracie was born. They briefly lived here with my parents when they came back from Oklahoma or Texas, wherever they were before they moved back. And then they've been within 3 miles. I think it's more like within like 2.5 ever since. So it's like they were close to here, so why wouldn't they go close to family there, and if it conveniently opens up that they can be neighbors, well, for fuck's sake, we've been neighbors with my grandparents and my aunt and uncle for a few decades. So it's like, how is that any different? Why is that a problem? But she was trying to make it a big deal, trying to, I felt that sort of poke, I guess. Like she's trying to throw out information that I may or may not have known. Actually, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say she knew that I did not know that information, and was trying to use it as a manipulation tactic. But she threw in, I suppose you already know, just as a means of getting at the fact that my brother and I talk without her involved in a lot of things, right? Because we discovered that, well, she's largely the reason we haven't been able to have our own lives, like going back to, we were both raised to be terrified of, okay, we were always told that you shouldn't have secrets because secrets meant you were doing something you shouldn't be doing. But in reality, secrets are a way of protecting yourself from assholes that have no business affecting your energy, like narcissistic family members, right? And so we were raised to be like terrified of this thing because we were supposed to tell the family everything, and my brother talked about some financial struggle he and his wife were having at one point, and my mom forced them to go over and talk to my grandparents about it. It's like, like when he was telling me about it in the past few weeks, it was like, his wife just kept saying, why are we doing this? It's none of their business. But that was literally like how we were raised to do things. It's like, if it could possibly make grandpa look bad, then you better make him aware of it. But then all that really does is set it up so the family can talk trash about you behind your back, right? So, yeah. But I mentioned that to my brother last night about her comment, and he said, he said that house, okay, Jen's mother that passed away in April last year, and one of her aunts that my brother was close to as well, I don't know when she died, but he said that he's kind of, set the intention, I guess, asked for assistance on making the right pieces fall into place in a timely fashion to get out of here in the easiest and most beneficial way, right? So he said he took it as them helping him from the other side, them opening up an opportunity that previously hadn't been there, right? And I think on that end too, that's kind of a helpful thing for me to remember. It's like, hey, ask for help from the other side. It is okay. And they will oblige. Yeah, but he was so irritated about it just because it literally came up yesterday, and she's making it out to sound like it's been this thing that was always in the works. And it's like, yeah, that's just how she is. Fuck's sake. So then, excuse me, I'm thinking today, okay, so I watched the narcissism video, then I took a shower, and as I was in the shower, I was thinking about how I feel like what's going on for me right now is kind of building on what the situation with my ex set me up before. Like, because I've talked a lot about how I left him for like 9 months, and she got Slurpee. How when I was going to leave, I didn't have everything lined up like I didn't have it all lined up in a way that would help me get truly disconnected at that point in time. So the first time was more like a preparation for the next time. And it wasn't really the first time, it was probably the first that I was really emotionally lined up to know it needed to happen. I mean, because I think in the entire time we were together, I tried leaving him at least once every single year. But kept going back because, this shit with the family. And every time I did leave him, then the family would get involved in stuff, and then I was torn because was I actually leaving because he was truly that toxic, or was I listening to my family? And because I kept going back and forth with that, I kept going back to him, right? And then when I on the big trial run, I was just packing stuff and having it in the front room where he could have found it at any point in time. I don't think he got into it until he found out that I was leaving, but then he started stealing stuff out of my boxes. So it's like, okay, well, now I know that I can't do it that way, right? So I realized that when it came around the next time, I needed to have a storage unit, right? So I could be moving my stuff out before, and he wouldn't have the opportunity to get into it should he find out before I was ready. So that also involved me getting my own bank account, which he had his own too. We had a joint account, and then he had an account, and then I had an account, and he didn't know about my account. I didn't know about his until he told me about it, and I don't remember the nature of that conversation. It wasn't a really good one, but basically, because he didn't want me to have access to doing whatever I wanted, kind of a thing. Yeah. But, I mean, I knew it was there because he was making the house payments out of that one. Yeah. So, I had gotten a little part-time job that it was like a delivery job, so I was able to make my own hours, decide when I could do anything. So what I was doing was I would work in the time that he was off, so I didn't have to spend time with him. I would try to pack things I thought I could pack without getting noticed while he was at work, and I could get stuff moved to the storage unit. So, like, even then, like, the first thing I did was start in the shed, because I knew he didn't ever go out there, right? So I started with the stuff farthest away, out of sight, out of mind, start figuring out what I wanted and what I didn't want, and went through it that way, and then started moving that stuff to the storage unit. The storage unit, it was a little bit further away from the house, just to try to make sure he didn't find out about it and, like, didn't accidentally show up when I was leaving or whatever. So I was doing that for a while. I had I decided, like, it was some weird amount. Like, I just had to prove to myself that I was able to save money. And so I was like, I think the number that I had to have in the bank account before I could completely leave was like $1,000. And, and then I'm still, I had the little job that I got, I put $75 in the joint account every paycheck, which I got paid weekly. And everything beyond that went into my other account that he didn't know about. And, at one point he was trash talking about how I shouldn't even have the job if it's only paying me $75. It's like, let's play dumb. Until after he did find out that I was leaving, because I was using the money in the joint account. It's like, okay, well, I needed some more totes, so I got some more totes and was loading those up, which of course he could see what I was spending at Walmart or whatever. But I mean, it was still money I was putting into the into the shared space. So I was doing all that, right? And it made a lot of things easier. So then today I'm thinking all of that was basically a means of preparation for what's coming. And I was thinking, I really feel like June is when I'm going to be leaving this space. Now, like I've said, can't really do that with $100 in the bank, right? So, like, get all my shit packed into some kind of moving vehicle and relocate, buy a house, all this fun stuff. Can't do that just with $100 in the bank, of course. And, sketchy hit and miss income otherwise. But it's like, I really feel like that's the time frame that it's all going to come together for me, right? So, how? I don't know. But I'm seeing that, one of my biggest tasks in life has been learning to trust myself. And it has been a struggle because, I got pulled into the toxic family connections and then the toxic connections that have branched or stemmed from the initial toxicity, and kind of navigating through life because of that. But like, I never trusted myself because I was raised not to, the idea of having dreams, it's like, okay, like, even, let's go back to my bear up there. When that contest came up for the zoo, literally the only reason I submitted pictures was because I thought that was a really cool picture, and I thought maybe somebody else would get some kind of enjoyment out of it as well, right? If there had been a prize that I knew about, I would not have put in for it because I would just automatically checked out because I didn't see myself as worthy of winning anything. And that's all goes back to the toxic family system and how I was raised. So, yeah, it's like all over the place. It's like I've not been taught to trust myself, not been encouraged to trust myself or believe that I'm capable of doing things, because that puts the family, my supply to the family system at risk, right? And, well, they weren't going to try to let me out of the system easily. So, also was the scapegoat and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. So it's like, the biggest thing has been learning to trust myself, because I've literally been demonized for all the times that I've tried to trust myself. And, when I've seen my intuition as being correct and then otherwise get emotionally assaulted for knowing things and being right on things, then makes you less inclined to want to trust it, right? Because there's danger in trusting it, because the mean people are going to come at you in some kind of way. They're toxic people. So I was thinking about how, like, everything in my life is preparing me for, like, this big disconnection, right? And so I had to go through the stuff with my ex where it's kind of feeling shady at times with how I was having to sneak around to get myself disconnected for that situation. But even that situation is just to prepare me to disconnect from this situation. And, you know, I've been talking a lot about how how one of my big focuses here lately has been purging my shit, you know, and disconnecting my shit from the family shit. You know, because, of course, my mom got this big-ass washer and dryer when the old ones crapped out, and then it's like, well, because we have all this space in the washer, do you have anything that you want to put in this load, kind of a thing? And then next thing it shifts into is our stuff so mixed together that it's hard to really realize when laundry needs to be done because I need something versus their shit's piled up with my stuff, and now it's just who needs something first, you know. And when I was looking for clothes this morning, my shirt here, I pulled the shirt out of my drawer and it had one of my mom's hairs on it, and that just drives me absolutely nuts because her hair's like really long and it gets tangled up in everything, and it's like goes through the fabric and all this stuff, and it's been driving me nuts this time like it never really did before. I think she's on something that's kind of making some of it fall out a little more. I don't know, but it's like everywhere. But then if we're doing laundry together, then it's like really everywhere. It's like, no. You know, so I've talked about how I disconnected that several months ago because it's like I didn't want my stuff smelling like pee. Because quite frankly, their stuff sometimes frequently does. And I'm not okay with that. And it's like, then I realized it's like, this is literally just trying to keep me roped into feeling obligated to do more for them, right? Because if they need laundry before I do, and then my mom gets to the laundry because she's out of bras or whatever, it's like, then my stuff being mixed in gets thrown into their load, and then it's like, I did something for you, now you have to do something for me. That kind of stuff. So it's like, that's not working. You know, so I separated all of that out, and I've been talking about like this purging process that I've been going through, and I just love this dog. Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking about that while I was in the shower too. It's like, sorry, she wasn't done. Last night, I did some work. I did not get to my shelf yet. Some of it got moved over here. But I rearranged a bunch of drawers, so now this dresser that's over here has a bunch of my t-shirts in it, which I had over there, and that just didn't work out because then I couldn't see what I had, because that top drawer with the round knobs is what I had a lot of t-shirts in, and then the one under it. But that didn't work for that. However, that drawer is now full of socks. It's like I found a bunch of socks that it's like, I know I have a ton of socks. Where did they all go? Now they're all in that drawer. Except for the ones that are in the laundry. And then like these drawers are apparently bigger. Which, it kind of looks like that. But not. It doesn't look like it should be excessively bigger, and yet all my t-shirts fit into 2 drawers over here, whereas they fit awkwardly into 2 drawers over there, and the one drawer was the big drawer. So the legging drawers also that's today's project. But like I was thinking about, like, even this stuff, at one point not that long ago, there is a dresser in my office space that usually it has some of Gracie's clothes in it, like when she was staying over here all the time. Since she's not around like she used to be, she really doesn't need a drawer anymore. But at one point in time, my mom was like, she said, I need a drawer. She said, you have all these drawers and I don't. I need a drawer somewhere. It's like, you have an entire dresser in there to yourself. And the closet, I mean, she shares the closet with my dad, sure. But it's like, why do you need stuff in my space? Like, that's, I think, a big part of what I'm doing now with this whole purging process. Figuring out what actually is mine and what I don't need anymore. And getting rid of the excess. And getting ready to have it where I can shift out of here real quick. I was kind of thinking, it's like, it would be ideal if they went on like a 1.5-week trip in June. And I was able to go from not having anything really packed to getting completely moved out and disconnect from the space altogether without them being aware of it. And the extent of how well that's going to work out, I mean, you know what, I'm going to give that one to the universe, but I'm going to hold out for it, I think. But it's like everything that I've been going through, it's like, okay, I think what I'm going to do is like, okay, my letter jacket that I don't feel like I can, if I try to like throw it in the burn pile or something, then it's going to be a problem because I put it in the burn pile and they knew about it, right? But if I just put it in the closet in the other room where, like, my mom's got all sorts of shit in that closet, then it's out of my space, away from my stuff that I will want to take with me. And yeah. But like, I've really been disconnecting, like on the winter stuff and the Christmas stuff. The Christmas stuff that I have is in its own box, obviously, but then I'm just going ahead and putting like winter stuff in there too, like the leg warmers I have. I don't need those in the drawer in the bathroom that they've been in because I am fully planning on not being here much longer. I just don't know how to work out. I think part of the slowness on getting all the details figured out too is because that way I can't accidentally tell somebody too much information around here. Like, okay, if I had a substantial income where it made it look like it was possible that I could actually leave at this moment, then, I start paying shit up quicker than otherwise. Then they'd catch on and say something, right? But right now, it's just, you see, I was thinking about the student loans that are co-signed by them. It's like, if I can get those paid off in June, that'd be great too. Which, I wanted to say that's like $5,000, so a little over. So that's, that's still a chunk too. But if I want to, like, when I disconnect, really disconnect. And even just saying that, it's like, that makes me feel shady because how I was raised that you're not supposed to have secrets because it means you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. But it's not that it means I'm supposed to be doing something I'm not. Means that I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. It means I'm trying to get the fuck out of here so I can have my own life for once in my life. And I know that if they are aware of that, then they're absolutely going to actively try to sabotage that. So it's a matter of protecting myself, you know? And so like all this purging that I've been doing, it's like literally clearing out the excess, figuring out what I do want and what I know I don't want. And the stuff that she's going to hound me about, if she knows I don't want it, then I just put it somewhere where it's out of my space and out of my stuff and can be her problem when I leave. Yeah. Yeah, I got, my closet doesn't have a whole lot in it right now. There's 3 totes. One of them has summery clothes in it, so it's opened because I've taken some things out of it. However, we're still early spring, so it's like I don't need a whole lot of that. Some of it, I don't know. There's still a lot that I'm working on with this whole processing thing. But just like, I was just spending the time with it today, realizing that it's like all these things that have prepared me to get ready for this moment. And now that I can kind of shift things around and see that I'm disconnecting so I can separate my stuff out so I can get out of here in the near future, and not be entangled in all of their bullshit too. Which even then, it's still just a pain in the ass trying to navigate through things. You know, but like those boxes that have been in the living room have been there for a long time. And yes, I've still been going through them a little at a time. But like, I feel there's some of them that I'll be able to have in the space without it being an issue as I get it kind of packed up and ready to shift out. Yeah, hold that thought. Okay, I was also thinking about, I've talked about how I think I'm going to paint the bathroom. Of course, the bathroom's been kind of weirdly painted. I had a couple ideas that I didn't like, but didn't finish out. But I was thinking I'd go ahead and paint that space too. And, intention setting is big, y'all. So maybe set the intention that even less of they have even less access to my energy and whatnot. And that all the pieces are coming together. Stop. And then it also make them none the wiser on me shifting out because, I painted my bathroom because I wasn't happy with it, right? But just in thinking about like how much this space has been important for this journey. Are you about done? Seeing the chaos outside of my system and not being as pulled around by it in my system because I can see it outside of my system now. That's been huge on this whole... Oh, we're not trying to fight in front of me. Gidget! Stop. I'm gonna throw you out. Stop. Get over here where they can't reach me. Come sit by the closet. Shut up. Bad dog. Nope. Yeah. I will throw you out, dude. Let me throw him out. Don't like having to throw him out, but sometimes it's easier once he gets going. Yeah. Now I don't remember what I was saying. Just the chaos out of my system thing. It's like if I do that in another space, because I was thinking I'd go with like a burgundy color that I have. Another free paint that came up, well, not free, it was cheap. I got that one on clearance at Lowe's, and liked the color. Probably needs the shit shaken out of it, but it'll work. But then do that in the bathroom and use that as opportunity to kind of purge through some stuff that I don't need in there, or stuff that I can leave behind when I do go to do that. But I was thinking it would be kind of helpful, interesting, helpful, huh? I think it'll be it's basically organizing what I have so that when I do go to pack it up and get out of here, I can do it in a timely fashion. I was thinking like maybe they go visit Gracie for a week and a half and take the camper and take their dog with them. And then I would be able to do all of this in a hurry. Now, of course, the catch is because we live next to family. So if I have a moving truck in the front or in the driveway, they could potentially see it over there. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. That's the thing. And like even the furniture I have, the way I move stuff, like I have a suitcase, right? Or I have a set of suitcases. So I would pack the clothes with things that I don't want broken in that, and then have the drawers on my dresser empty. I didn't realize that wasn't a thing that everybody did until my brother and his wife had saran wrapped things into drawers. It's like, why would you do that? It's so much heavier. But then I can move the furniture on my own if the drawers are empty, or these drawers come out, so I can do that and then put them back in place whenever they're loaded, right? So just kind of, I'm brainstorming through this stuff so I can kind of figure out what would work best, and how to have things easier when it's time. I was even thinking earlier, it's like, if I get everything together, I could even just leave my phone on the table when I leave, and get like a burner phone or something until I get wherever I'm going and meant to be. I don't know. Try to keep them out of my business. There's just lots of little things that, at least with the experience of having left my ex multiple times, and then the times of leaving that made it easier to make it a smooth transition, right? Yeah. But like most of the furniture I have, I can move it on my own relatively easy. The desk, obviously I can't move the desk on my own, but I manifested that thing in 2 weeks, so I'm pretty sure I can manifest a new one if I was good and ready to. So I was thinking that one I will leave here. But everything else, there's a couple things that I would need some work on taking down, but I could make it happen. And since my brother won't be around to help, maybe I could call Ben in if I needed to help take a shelf down or whatever. Yeah, here's the shelf in the DVD rack. And even that I could get a new one if I wanted to. Yeah, guess I've got a lot to think about. And I guess on that end, it makes it easier to consider purging stuff as I go along, because, okay, realistically, do I need this in my next space? No? Okay, it can go. And if it can't go easily and quietly without it being an issue with my mother, then it can go into the other. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start putting stuff in the other closet that I don't want, and the stuff that I do want, I can, whether I pack it and have it ready or what, I don't know. Like, that's been the biggest thing, because it's like I have no intention of being here when it gets cold again. So, like, all the Christmas stuff and the winter stuff can go with the Christmas stuff. And obviously not ready to put the fleece leggings up just yet, because it is still freaking cold sometimes, usually in the evenings. But sometimes the day temperature drops too, because we're moving in the better direction, but we're still not, it's still early spring. So yeah. I was thinking a lot about how it kind of makes sense that my mom is with my grandma and my aunt as much as she still is, after my grandfather's death, because they're the main supply, right? I think that's why my aunt has as many issues as she does at present. She's in therapy and whatnot, but I feel like, I've talked about her as she was the scapegoat before any of the grandkids were born, and then it became me. But she was the next in line, so, my mom was 5 years older, so it makes perfect sense that she kind of shift into that sort of space. But yeah. Because body pillow, I can't even tell you when I've used a body pillow last. But I got one. And honestly, that is exactly what it's for more than anything, to keep her from falling off totally. There is a chance, I guess, if Gracie asks about coming in here tonight, I'll probably let her. Usually she does not get to sleep in my room. But since she is getting ready to move, and since there are the whole energetic connections that are of concern, I might let her stay in here tonight, even though she's really hard on the bed. I just made the bed a couple days ago, so. But if she messes it up too bad, I can do it again. So, yeah. But that is, I guess today's task is to continue with the purging stuff. And like the shifting things from one location to the next, it's like it helps me to keep any part from stagnating, right? So it's like, okay, so my shirts are over here. Not that my shirts are going to stagnate. But even just the switch from over there to over here, shaking things up for me helps me to keep, like the thoughts moving and keep from getting hung up on any one thing. I have a computer bag down here it doesn't have anything in it but a plant, an empty pot, rather, because the plant died, fell on it, so it's like covered in dirt. It's like, that's not helpful. But I'm betting if I can make things happen in a timely fashion soon, then I will want that to pack both my old computer and my current computer in. It's big enough it'll fit both. And then it can go in this little hidey hole that I'm looking at, that it's kind of like, it's an awkward corner, right? So that thing, obviously, there's plenty of room to to put other stuff back there to hide it, and yet not have it completely gone. So yeah, like the old computer, and then the current computer, whenever I do go to shift, it'll go in there as well. You know, so I'll want that somewhere where I know it's at. I don't know. Guess I need to I'll probably spend some time writing here in a little bit just to kind of process through this stuff a little further. But I do feel like the days are numbered here. I don't know how it's all going to work out. But that goes back to that trusting myself piece, right? Trusting myself, trusting the universe. Everything will work out however it's meant for the highest good. And he doesn't like being locked out. Yeah. All right, let me let him back in. And I know. He lost his footing. Stop. I know part of his problem is he was left behind before, and he's probably really sensing some shifting things. He will not be left behind by any means. This is my baby. Mouthy baby. Stop. Stop. Dog in my armpit. Was on the floor, and then he like literally fell headfirst into my lap. And then he was still woofing, so we paused it. Yeah. Anyway, lots to work on. Since he's getting chaotic, probably go ahead and wrap it up. And go do some writing before I do some working. Yeah. Oh, I did watch Spiral and Saw 10 last night. Liked those a lot. And then the first Scream kind of trailed off on the cleaning by the time I got to the Scream, and then I was just staring at the TV. I watched that before I left Alabama, interestingly, and I don't remember most of it. But yeah. So I'll probably spend more time with those today. I mean, because the Scream set has like 6 movies in it. And I will have to check my email to see if that got renewed or not. Might get an additional fine if I keep it too long. But I can at least get a couple more movies watched today. The 2 that I liked, Spiral and Jigsaw 10, or Saw 10, aren't due back until next week. So yeah, so I got focus on the Scream movies, I think, because they might be due tomorrow. That might be why I haven't. I'll have to check my email. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. As always, I appreciate you. Until the next time, see ya.